Fascinating. Just catching up on the Maritime Reporter there. Welcome back to the Apprentice Ship, where we are talking about the last few candidates remaining in the process. But first, let me read you Busher's joke, which is obviously the finest moment in last night's episode. We are the Gourmet Crusaders. We're on a mission to bring gourmet dishes to the mass market. We would have loved to have Captain Gourmet himself here today, but unfortunately Donald Trump called him over. Now, there are a number of issues with this joke. Firstly, what does Donald Trump called him over mean? Secondly, Captain Gourmet is not mentioned at any other time in the creation of this brand in the programme at all. It's just something she came up with. And then thirdly, just who would think that that is a joke? We might come back to that. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at each of the candidates. We've got them here. Technology, iPad. We'll go through the candidates like this. And what I'm going to do is look at their prospects for the rest of the show. And what I'm going to say is whether they're toast or whether they're the toast. First up, we have James. Now, James, I think, is quite a strong candidate. He's quite determined. He's a little bit of a posh boy. He loves his abs. He loves himself. Which obviously takes you a long way in The Apprentice. Also a bit of a requirement for getting in the door in the first place. The problem with James is when it gets down to the nitty gritty, he's just not that good. He has been overwhelmed by the force of nature that is Elizabeth on more than one occasion. And as Lord Sugar said to him as he was going out the door, he needs to man up. So when it comes to the nitty gritty, when he's looking at people's whites of their eyes, he hasn't really got it. So James, I'm afraid, mate, James is toast. We are on to Makayla next. There's Makayla. Makayla's very, very strong. She always manages to get her own way. She's also got a sense of humour. She knows how to manipulate men and how to work well with women. It's a real key strength of hers. And I think Makayla's really, really strong. And as I say, one thing about her, she's got a smile on her face, so I think she's a very strong candidate. You see this wobbling, I'm trying to hold it and do the... So I think toast of the town. I think Makayla's going through on my list. Sarah Jane didn't do very well last night, but I think it was the first time she was in the boardroom last night, and she was fighting tooth and nail, and she showed a bit of claw, showed a bit of tooth. Red in tooth and claw she was. She defended herself very well, but I think she's very smart and very straight down the line and will never let you down, very quiet and efficient and keeps her powder dry and all those good things. But I think maybe just a little bit too straight down the line. Sarah Jane, I'm going to put her in the final three and she's a toast of the town. Next up, we have Jade. Now Jade's been very, very strong throughout as well. She's very forceful. She's very, very direct as well. She's come up with some good ideas, but she has been a little bit flaky, and some of the relationships with some of the other women have not been that good. So she does get distracted by a bit of negativity. She's too kind of wrapped up in her own ideas, and those ideas are not that good when you come to breaking them down. They couldn't come up with a name. They had a really good, straightforward concept last night, healthy eating food, and it took them all day, so long to come up with a name that by the end of the task they couldn't write their ingredients properly, and therefore there were spelling mistakes in it, which is really, really poor, just really bad planning. So I think when it comes down to the nitty gritty, she's just a little bit too flaky. So even though she is good, and I think she deserves to be where she is at the moment, I think for the bottom three, I'm afraid, Jade, you are toast. Now, Elizabeth. We could sit here for the rest of this episode of The Apprenticeship and talk about Elizabeth. As I said, she is a force of nature. There's some things to admire and a lot not to admire about Elizabeth. The thing about her is she just pushes everybody out of the way. She dominates stuff. And I just don't see why she's still in the process. I genuinely don't think Alan Sugar could work with her. I think he knows that. I think it's part of the pantomime, part of the production decisions that she's still in there, that they want a little bit more out of her. she just can't possibly take a back seat, and it's a massive minus. And whenever she gets criticised, she starts acting like a little girl. She starts saying, yes, Lord Sugar, no, Lord Sugar, and can I please do this, Lord Sugar, and can I please go to the toilet, Lord Sugar? Please, may I go to the toilet? Stuff like that. So I think that was a bit of a letdown. I'm a bit torn about, you know, heart and head. My heart tells me she's absolutely rubbish and there's no way she'll be in the final. My head tells me that producers like her and she might well go through, but going with my heart, so I'm afraid, Elizabeth, you're toast, love. Harrison, wide boy Harrison. Now, obviously, we've seen this so many times before on The Apprentice, the self-made Cockney lad, or at least a Londoner. Lord Sugar likes them, he sees something of himself in them. But again, he's just not really shown anything of any depth, really. Especially last night, for example, he hadn't been project manager, so he project managed the task. He managed to come up with a healthy dish that had absolutely no health benefits whatsoever. It tasted nice. God knows how, because him and Makayla couldn't cook. They were working with random ingredients that they'd kind of made up on the fly. He won last night's task by the skin of his teeth, and he was told that. He was told, you know, you really didn't do well. It was just that the others, their pitch was so terrible that they actually managed to put together a decent pitch. And I think that's kind of symptomatic of what he's been like throughout the process. But I do think that his, because of what he is, and because of how far he's got, and because I think Lord Sugar will like that kind of thing, I think that he will be in the final three, so he's toast of the town. So finally, Joanna. Joanna is the last one that we haven't talked about. Now, Joanna, just like Jade, has a big problem, and her big problem is Jade. And she's had so many arguments with so many people. And I think she just finds it really hard to put a smile on her face. When you see the smile, when you see the other side, it's really nice. And I think it's really good for her in a business sense. But we've not really seen her come up with anything. We've not really see her do anything where she's enjoyed herself. She doesn't enjoy being told what to do. She seems to enjoy being part of the team. All those things are a struggle for her. So unless she's got an absolute corker of a business plan and a corker of the next few weeks, she's got to go. So, and I can't see either of those things happening. So I'm afraid, Joanna, you are toast. So they're the candidates. That's who we think is left. So we think we're going to have Makayla, we're going to have Harrison, and we're going to have Sarah Jane. That's I say we, I mean me, obviously, and the rest of them are toast. See you next time on The Apprentice.